What's up, friends? Let's use the force. Let's try and keep a positive mental attitude. Let's be kind with our thoughts and let's keep loving our hearts. I'm calling for unity and acceptance. To me, acceptance is the key. Equality and unity are pretty much the same thing to me. The acceptance of our differences, but respect nonetheless. We're all different, but we all bleed the same. So, friends, family, loved ones, acquaintances, people who I've only ever typed to. I've been struggling a little bit the last week. The severity of the situation we're in right now across the globe is a definite concern, right? Whether you believe the severity of COVID, or whether you are on the opposite end of the scale, and anywhere in between, this is not fun times, right? I can't fake good vibes. I can't fake positivity. I have some in me, but I've been a bit angry. That's what I've been. I've been very angry. The guy with a fork in me wants to really rain some hell. But the phase cloud 9 in me really wants to spread some love. So we got to find some love in hell raising to be doing. Is the way I see it. From the genetically modified seeds we now consume, to the cancer-causing chemicals in our drinks, to the hormones in the processed meats, to the slave labour that's going on around the world. There's a lot of bad things happening. And in the face of that, we need to dig deep. We need to dig deep into ourselves and go, do you know what? I, John Woodford Scott, need to do better. I've all but isolated myself. I've done what I felt I needed to do. And right now I need to just say sorry to some of my good friends who I turned my back on. Paul and Eddie. You never really gave up on me. And I think I gave up on you. And I'm deeply sorry for that. However, I definitely did what I felt I needed to do, and of that I do stand by. But in my realisation of acceptance and its part inequality and unity, I realise I let you down. I realise I let myself down a little bit. But as opposed to wallowing in that letdown, I have chosen to take it as a lesson. Of one, I won't make that same move again. I'm not saying come back in my life, I'll never do that again. Quite the opposite. What will be, but I'll never make that mistake again. I'll never make that action again. That lesson is well and truly learnt for me. But I'm cool with I see the need so badly, as do many people around the world, for us to come together. Way before COVID hit us, the society we live in is sick. It's well out of balance. It cares not for the earth. And the people that run it care not for us. You know, This is why I talk about getting awareness. This is why I talk about doing some research, is so that you can see and so that you can share in the passion for coming together. We don't need to fight the system. We really don't. This is something that's really been coming across my path, is we don't need to fight anything. We just need to step the fuck out of it. Well, pardon me. We just need to step out of this. Now, that's easier said than done. I spent time a few years back, researching like common law, the Magna Carta, and a few other things that are the building blocks of our society. And I also looked into our sovereignty and the fact that pre the age of 7, you can claim your children back from the government, stroke the church, stroke the royals. And once they turn 7, you can't do that. And then it's not until you're 16 or 18 that you can reclaim your own sovereignty. This whole society is built on contract law. So your driving license is the binding contract. That means you have to adhere to a lot of the rules, but there is such a thing as freedom to travel. Now, if you were to really be a free person, you would go through a process where you rescind your driving license, you send it back. You can claim your vehicle as your own property, and you can then get you can get insurance for your there's a specific legal term it's then called after you've claimed it back as your property. It's your mode of transport or something, but you can get that insured. There's companies that do that. There's processes we can go through whereby we can step out of the system. Now, I get that for people with families, that's a hard thing to even consider. But I would ask you to just consider what the alternative is, really. Yesterday I was really pissed off. I put about 5 posts on my story that were just anger, because Preston's been re-locked down, and their basis for doing this is so minimal, it's unreal. I mean, the whole lockdown thing through COVID has been very strange. I think for any of us, no matter what end of the scale you're on, from totally believing COVID is as severe as it's made out to be, to, you know, the polar opposite, like COVID's not even real, it's a cover-up for, I don't know, some conspiracy theory or something, right? But wherever you're at on the scale, none of this is easy. And that's why I'm making this video, because I know it's not easy. It's not easy for me. You know, I put a lot of my time and effort into my music, putting messages in it, and it's a focus for me. It helps me to maintain in a society I didn't like way before COVID. But acceptance is needed. Unity is needed if we want any form of equality. If you stand for Black Lives Matter, if you stand for LBQ, and if you stand for anything, unity is needed to achieve it. I don't know what to say, man. I'm just trying to speak from the heart, right, as always. That's what I do. That's why I won't script what I'm writing, which is fine if you do that. There are people that I hugely respect that speak out, and they script what they're going to write so that they make sure they get their points nice and neat. I'm going for the raw feeling, get me, right? That is why, George, I wouldn't change how I was delivering my messages, and to anyone else who's made a couple of suggestions that I'd thought on beforehand and then after they've made it, and I chose to continue my path, because feeling is hugely needed. We're taught to suppress our feelings, and moreover, often things that are hard to deal with, we just go ahead and suppress it so that we can deal with what we've got to deal with, because life ain't easy. Even but we can make it better. We can make a like a form of governance where it's truly democratic, where no one's in any position unless they're actually voted into that position by the people, and that the people that vote have to be informed. I think that is a really important factor. I think the education system should be reformed so that it informs us better for the life that we're going to live. And for those of us now that need to make changes, we should get informed so that we can see who owns all the media companies, so that we can see what the Bilderberg Group is, so that we can see who the Rothschilds, the Chases, the Morgans, who the original gold makers were and what they used to create their banking systems. It's not a story of doom and gloom, but fuck me, there's a lot of it in our history, right? There's a lot of doom and gloom in our history, so it's no surprise we got this weird visions of the future where Hollywood's pumping out these crazy either doomsday-like future scenarios or some really clean cut, everyone wears the same type of clothing, you know, if you're not part of that you're rejected to the sewers. All these things have an impact on our psychology, on our psyche. So I'm calling for unity. I'm calling for more care. I'm calling for people to dare to feel the fear of something else, because our society is not healthy, and most of us know that. Anyone who hasn't done any research knows that. So we can don a superhero hat, we could don a cape, that's a whatever. It's just me being playful. What I'm looking for is the humankind, because we are. The people I chose to have in my life pre-getting informed were kind people, hence my apology. But they hit a limit, right? And that's what caused me to make my moves, because two of the kindest people I've ever known in my life refused and outright straight up just opposed getting informed. We can't trust the media. They do not have our interests at heart at all. That's obvious. When you look objectively, it's obvious. The government, we've all known they don't have our interests at heart, so why the fuck would we want to carry on trusting them? You know, this whole COVID thing is inconsistent. I'm going to go over my time if I'm not careful. We all have love to pass around. We just got to dig in ourselves a bit to find a bit of courage. So I'm going to say, let's use the force to find that courage. Positive mental attitude. Let's be kind with our thoughts, and let's keep love in our hearts, and let's find acceptance, and let's get awareness. peace in.